Salute, comrades. You're now tuned in to the Unchained Truth, Voices from Behind the Walls. I'm your host, William Thomas McCallum Jr., founder and freedom fighter amplifying the unheard voices from within. This is the truth being unchained for those locked away and silenced behind the walls of injustice. The men and women whose voices have been buried beneath steel, stigma, and silence. This is their battleground for truth. Here, no one is overlooked, and their truths aren't ignored, erased, or rewritten. They're raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically real. Whether they're doing time for past mistakes or enduring the weight of injustice, their stories matter, and they will be heard. This is about human lives where dialogue needs to be sparked, reform needs to be ignited, and liberation needs to be demanded. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We're not begging for sympathy. We're building a movement for change. So stay tuned in, stay locked in. This is the Unchained Truth. Welcome to the revolution. This interview is more than just questions. It's a platform for truth, growth, and humanity. Every story we hear behind these walls is a story the outside world needs to understand. So to our guest today, thank you in advance for being open, honest, and courageous. This is your space. Your voice matters here. Let's begin. What's your name, your office number, and where are you from?
Uh, I'm originally from High Point, North Carolina. My office number is 1051972. Named John Rush.
John Rush. John Rush.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
What were you convicted of, and how much time did they sentence you to?
I was convicted of first-degree murder, first-degree attempted murder, and robbery with a dangerous weapon. And I was sentenced to life without parole, plus 5 or 6 years.
How long have you now been incarcerated?
Man, September 2nd of this year be 20 years.
How old were you when you came into the system? And what were you feeling
I
at
was
that
21. Man, I was 21, man, still growing, man, still trying to find my way, limited knowledge, man, you know how that go. And, man, just trying to find a steady job, and, that didn't work out, which led to other things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Man, so do you have any children?
Man, when I left my daughter, man, I have one daughter, and her name is Kiara Rush, and when I left her, man, she was 2, fixing to be 3. Now she's 22, fixing to be 23 with 2 babies, man, so now I'm a granddad, ×2.
Oh, granddad. I'm a granddaddy too, bro. I don't even say. Hey.
Yeah, but it is
wonderful,
different now.
man.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, let me ask you this though. How does it feel? How does it feel being physically absent from your daughter's life?
Man, that's one of the most pressing things, one of the most troubling things to not be there. I try to do the best I can. I learned a long time ago that my responsibility as her dad doesn't stop just because I'm in prison. So I try to be there as much as I can. And by God's grace, I was able to be there for a large part of her life in regards to just giving her advice. Not present, but a phone call away. A dad that really has to be always honest with a child that he left.
That's right. And that's the big part right there, man. Being totally honest with your child. You know, because I beat myself up for that too as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always been totally honest with my son. You know, I got one son, man. He's 22 years old right now, man. And like you, he's got a boy. That's my grandson. And you know, I was always totally honest with him, man. Never held nothing back from him. Always gave him the raw truth. You know, even when there was things that I know that he didn't want to hear, and I gave it to him the way he's supposed to hear.
Right.
You know, right. You know, and up until this day, he appreciates me for that, man. You know, so I definitely understand that. Let me ask you, do you have anyone in society who supports you?
Man, my family, man, and I thank God for that too, man. You know, in here, man, if you don't have a family support system or any support, man, you in trouble. And my parents, man, they're still living. You know, they're behind me. My grandmother, she passed a couple years ago. You know, my baby still is. You know, but my parents, man, they're with me. Man, I got a brother named Nigel, man, and man, he's better than 10 brothers. You know, he's with me. You know, and I have other brothers. You know, and I have a total of 4 brothers. One named Henry, one named Ron, one named Jamel, and they all do their part as they're able to. You know, and I'm appreciative of that.
That's right. That's right. So for all the ones that hold you down and the ones that support you, what would you like to say to them, right?
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Say it again, brother.
So for all the ones that hold you down and the ones that support you, what would you like to say to them?
That, you know, I appreciate everything that they do. And, you know, this goes without saying, man, I stay in contact with everyone who cares enough about me to make sure I'm okay. You know, it's nothing that they do that is undervalued. It's nothing that is too little or insignificant. You know, for instance, man, I have nieces now, and I've been gone a while, so now my nieces are grown. Okay, so I have a niece named Brittany, I have a niece named Precious, and I have a niece named Micaiah. And from time to time, man, they might put $10 on my phone, man, and that's priceless. And I tell them that it's not about the amount, it's about the thought, you know. Very important, very important, you know. No matter the amount of the sacrifice, the fact that they have and people who do sacrifice for my well-being has the heart to do it is priceless in itself. You know, so I appreciate everything that they do, and I'm gonna try to continue to be the best person that I am for them and be there for them as I'm able to until my change comes.
That's right. And Mr. Rush, hey, tell us about your childhood. What experiences, traumas, or conditions that shaped your past?
You know, man,
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
A long time ago, man, I want to say when I first started this journey, man, someone told me the difference between you choosing the streets and the streets choosing you. And growing up, man, I had a 2-parent household, you know, but my parents struggled. You know, they struggled with things. And that left me and my brother in a situation to maybe experience things that other people didn't experience. You know, coming from just growing up and not in the best neighborhoods. You know, you have things that happen in certain neighborhoods that won't happen in other neighborhoods. You know, so I know what it's like to see my dad work a job and not have enough, or my mother to do the best that she can and not have enough. You know, I've been through that, you know, and that affects children are very impressionable, you know, so when you see certain things that take place around, certain things can't be hid. And that was my experience, you know, to the point that a lot of the people that I was around growing up went without. You know, we knew about financial lack and the need of proper finances at a very early age. I'm not going to say too early, but it made us conscious of certain things that had to be done. And I believe that shapes a lot of people's path in maybe lower income communities to understand. And right now it is about the light bill by any means necessary. To have that mindset at a young age, it could be bad, if that makes sense.
You got to right about that, my brother. Let me change the temperature a little bit. Have you lost any loved ones while incarcerated?
Man, my grandmother, man, first off, man, I lost my stepmother, man, in 2017, man.
Yeah.
Man, Rita Rush. And, man, a beautiful woman, man. You know, she's a church-going woman. You know, I moved from High Point to Greensboro, man, I want to say around 95, 96. And, you know, man, she taught me about, you know, just taking pride in myself and paying tithes, which church folk will know what I'm talking about. And she put these things in me. She was a diabetic, though. And she passed 2017, man. And in 2022, man, my grandmother passed, man. You know, and that was my baby, man. My grandmother, man, she sent me money, man, and I'll never forget it. When I first got in the county jail, I got a receipt for some money. And at the time, this is my first time in trouble. Like, I've never been in trouble. So I didn't know what the money was for. And then they slid me a canteen sheet, man. And I want to say, man, I maybe, at the time, I did like 186 months when she passed. And she missed sending me money twice. That's 2 months out of 186, and they had the nerve to apologize when she couldn't do it. And I'm like, Grandma, you gotta apologize for that. Like, baby, you hold me down, you know. But I lost her in 2022, man, you know, and that was rough. You know, if you know anything about North Carolina prisons, you know that they don't consider your grandparents immediate family. So I wasn't able to go to the funeral.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
That was, man.
Excuse me, my brother. We're
Okay.
going to get right back to this question right here. If you will hang on, call back.
Okay.
The Unchained
I do
Truth
just
will continue. The Unchained Truth continues with my brother, Mr. John Rush. If you will, Mr. Rush, we continue to speak about your loss.
Yeah, man, my grandmother, man, again, man, you know, man, man, she used to get on the road to come see me, man. Like I say, I'm originally I'm from High Point. So after I processed in Central Prison, I got moved to Alexander. And, man, she'd get on that road to come see me. I mean, she would put money in my account, man. And the crazy thing about it is that she was on a fixed income, you know. But every month, man, she made sure that I was okay. And out of all of the months that I did, man, you know, man, she missed sending money 2 months, man. And she was like, baby, I'm sorry. And I'm like, you ain't got to be sorry about that. You hold me down more than anybody else. And that's not to say that my other family didn't, but my grandmother, man, good God almighty, man, she would send me portions of her check before she paid her rent, man. You know, so
yeah.
That was my baby, man. It still is to this day, although she's no longer here.
So how did you deal with that grief, that trauma while being behind the walls?
Man, still dealing with it. You know, I'm in an open door facility, man, and it's hard to grieve, you know. So I would go in the shower to try to make myself cry, and they wouldn't come out, and then I would get angry.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I would get angry because it hurt my heart for her to leave this earth.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
We must all go, you know, but, you know, I'm still dealing with that, you know, and it's something that I pray about often, you know, but I'm still dealing with it. You know, she passed February 1st, 2022, you know, and I mean, I'm still dealing with that. I am, you know, just day by day, man. Just day by day.
Yeah, man, just keep your head up and stay focused, man. You know, she will always want the best for you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, stay on the right path, my brother, you know what I'm saying? Don't let nothing take you out of character. Don't let nothing change your focus, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me ask you this, though. What has your prison experience been like?
Prison experience has been very. My challenge has been to maintain dignity, and what I mean by that is this: the only rehabilitation that North Carolina prisons offer you is what you're willing to do for yourself. Anything else is just on paper. Okay, with that being said, this system is designed to strip you of your identity. And what I mean by that is there are certain things that you, my brother, while a free man, would never tolerate. Okay, now that we are incarcerated, we are expected to lay our morals and integrity and what we draw the line and things to the side. You know, the goal is to have us behave according. Using the bathroom, taking a shower, these are private acts for civilians. Yet you have some facilities that attempt to make this as less private as possible. And my challenge has been, and my face has been set to make sure that I maintain that dignity, that if I wouldn't do it in society, I'm not doing it here. You know, that's been a challenge of mine, and I believe that that's how, for the most part, God has kept me sane in this environment, maintaining who I am. You know, a shower is a private act; it will forever remain a private act when dealing with me, respectfully. You know, and those. It's about navigating those things. It's about checking things at the door that you know that are less than humane, whether subtle or blatant. You know, that's been my experience.
Man, she did. What's something people on the outside would never understand about prison life?
You know, it's one of them things where you almost have to go through it. It's getting lonely in here. And you would think being that you're around 1,000 men, right? Like, how could you possibly be lonely? But you know, this is an abnormal environment, man. The Bible says that it's not good that man should be alone. You know what I mean? Man was made for woman. That's my opinion. And you know, this is very abnormal. You know, and as men, we want to be able to hold our own far as finances and just do it for ourselves. So to have to call on someone else for help is extremely demeaning, especially if you are not into manipulating people that support you. You know, it's a bother for me to, for instance, man, my dad just told me Sunday, man, I call my dad twice a week, man, and he told me that his landlord had raised rent to $1,200, man, from $780, and I'm like, wow. And after he told me that, man, I couldn't just fix my face and ask for some money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it's hard, right? It's hard to ask for money when somebody's telling you about their money problems or money situations that they got going on.
Right. You know, so it's just it's what we want to do being sober-minded men now. Just because,
that's right.
Okay, we may not have been drug addicts in society, but you can have a non-sober mind if you're blinded by other things other than drugs. So now that we are sober-minded, you know, wanting to do for the people that we let down, and the inability to do that is very troubling. And that may be one thing that I can say that they may not be able to understand because they haven't been through it, which I'm glad they haven't.
Yeah, that's right. Let me ask you, have you witnessed or experienced injustice, abuse, or unprofessional behavior from staff or administrations?
Of course, and I thank God that for the most part, man, it misses me. You know,
This call is from the North Carolina Correctional Facility.
Everyone that works in a prison is not professional, and that's not to say that
This call is from the North Carolina Correctional Facility.
You have some very professional people. You have people that are able to do their jobs, which is to protect and serve versus feeling like they have a duty to punish those that have already been punished by the judge. You know, I've witnessed a lot, man. When I say I'm shielded, though, I'm shielded. But, man, I've witnessed, man, anything that you can think of under the guise of security concerns or security issues, things being planted on people, just all sorts of atrocities that wouldn't take place in any other setting other than prison. I witnessed it a lot.
Yeah. What rights do you think incarcerated people should be fighting for right now?
Could you repeat that question?
What rights do you think incarcerated people should be fighting for right now?
Man, we need relief, man. Lifers need relief, man. People with these excessive sentences, man, need relief, man. Currently, man, I have a life sentence, and I take the law library every day. Hoping that they pass the MAP program for new law license, and they have yet to do it. Just the right for a second chance. North Carolina seems to be behind the curve as it relates to parole and, good time credit. According to my understanding, this structured sentencing was adopted by Florida. Florida has since abandoned, and we still hold fast to it. Just that right. For instance, I come up every December for honor grade. Okay.
Yeah.
I have 5 points, so I'm honor grade eligible. However, due to my sentence, me coming up is just a formality. The right that we need as prisoners is second chances. That's what we need.
That's right. So if you had the chance to speak to lawmakers or the public, what would you want them to hear? What would you want them to hear?
I want them to know that not everyone is unchangeable. You have remorseful people in here. I also want them to know that a person is not always their crime. A lot of people have labels put on them according to what they've done. People change, and people sincerely change. And I believe that chances should be given to those that have sincerely changed, that can show you that they're changed, that you can look and see that this is not the same guy that the crime summary speaks of. These people need chances. Chances bring hope. I'm around people that lose hope all the time. And the Bible says that hope is the anchor of the soul. So when a man no longer has hope, his soul is no longer anchored. That's what makes him unstable, the fact that he has no hope. So I would implore the lawmakers to pass out hope. Pass out hope.
Okay. So you speak about change. That leads to my next question, right? Because I want to ask you this. Who are you today? And how is that different from who you were when you came in?
Who I am today, man, I'm a man of God today. And That's thrown around a lot. I understand that. They even have a term called jailhouse religion, and I get it. Um, I'm a man that's in serious pursuit of pleasing God. Very important. I'm now at 41 years old, am a man who is set on making sure he is happy first and everything else fall where it may. Uh, 20 years ago, man, I had my priorities out of line. Didn't have a lot of knowledge at all. The Bible says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So what we don't know can hurt us. And there's a lot of things that I didn't know that I know now, and I apply what I know now. That's who I am today. I grew up in prison. Although I was 21, technically grown, I grew up in prison.
Yeah.
Who I am today versus who I was, man, is so, man, it is so, it's kind of hard to explain, man, because it's deeper than just, I'm a man of God, man. It's just, man, I know my purpose now. Okay?
What was that turning?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Second, brother.
We're gonna cut it right. We're gonna cut it right here. I'm gonna come back with this question.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Okay, yeah, that's me too.
The Unchained truth will continue. The Unchained truth continues with my brother, Mr. John Rush. And Mr. Rush, what I was saying was, like, I wanted to ask you, what was that turning point in your mindset? That allows you to grow while being incarcerated.
Man, my turning point came early, man. My turning point came in the county jail, man. I stayed in the county jail, man, maybe 27 months, man. And
yeah,
it just came early, man. Just how real life was. I believe to a certain extent we may have all underestimated the seriousness of life, especially those that fell at a young age. And I recognized how serious things was. I mean, I come from a case where they was initially seeking the death penalty. So getting a bond was out of the question. That grows you up quick, and that grew me up quick. And then I began to understand that I underestimated the seriousness of life. Some say that I've overcorrected, which I think is impossible. But my change came early, man.
That's right. Let me ask you something. I want you to give a message to the youth. What would you say to young people who are being misled or turning to crime because of trauma, poverty, or pressure?
Man, I would say that it isn't worth it, man. I would say that there's a better way. I'm not a.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I'm not a Bible thumper by any means.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I would say find God now. Like now. Like stop what you're doing. Slow down. Go in the house. Like literally go in the house like right now. And find God now. And when you find him, hold fast to him. Because one thing that is reliable is him. A lot of things fluctuate. Not to be led by your emotions. Emotions fluctuate. Slow down. Because one thing about this life is that you only get one. In regards to the officials, law enforcement, man, they're not playing. They have no problem giving you so many months that you need a calculator to add up how many years that is.
Definitely right about
that's
that.
what I would say.
If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say?
The same thing I just told you. Go in the house, like right now. Like, go. Go in the house. Pick that Bible up right now. And calm down. Now.
Hey, yo. One thing that we always keep within our souls and our hearts and everything is that hope, freedom, and second chances. So, what does a second chance in society mean to you, my brother?
Man, it means everything, man. I got a grandson, man. My grandson be 5 in December, man. My granddaughter be 4 in December, man. They be saying back to back. And I've yet to meet them, man. I video visit them, and that's a blessing. They look forward to seeing Papa face every week. So that's priceless in itself. But freedom to me is the small things, getting home, able to help my family in the small things. My brother has a car lot, and just to be able to give him a helping hand, he does so much, man. I say, man, he need a clone. But better than a clone, he need me, just to be able to help, my dad, man, he gets up early every morning, to take his stepson to school, and getting in society would mean to me taking him to school so my dad can get that hour rest before he go and work his 40-hour week job. Things like that. My mother, sometimes she needs help. Her compressor and her car is gone now. She has no air conditioning. So returning to society will mean me taking care of that for her while my brother do what he has to do so my mother's not around in 100-degree weather with no air conditioning. That's what that means.
That's right. Let me ask you this. If you were released tomorrow, what's the first thing you would do?
Cry.
Hey, boy, I said the same thing, boy. That's my word. I said the same thing, boy. I'll cry. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Journey, boy.
I shed grown man tears like a grown man, not ashamed. Spend time with my family, man. I go see my dad, man. I go see my mom. I go see my brother, man. I get to making my rounds for everyone that supported me. Anyone who stuck with me, I will make sure they know we made it immediately.
That's exactly right. Let me ask you something, man. Life is all about legacy, man. So I want to ask you this question here. What do you want the people to remember about you?
That I got it right. I've been over sentenced, man. Found guilty using an unjust law. Any law that finds a man guilty of shedding blood when he has shed no blood is unjust. My brother, if you were to shed blood, I don't have to confess for that sin. I didn't do that. It's not to say that I was an upright citizen. I mean, I had work to do. But my legacy will be that I got it right. Whatever discrepancies, character defects, misguided decisions, that I got it right. Period.
Hey, man, this has been a wonderful interview, man, and I appreciate you giving me your time. Are there any last words you would like to share with the listeners of the Unchained Truth?
Man, just support this podcast. This podcast is for the people, by the people, to liberate the people. Not forget that now. Or the world's not right here. Time is precious and he's wasting it. Take this serious. And remember us, the prisoners.
That's right. Thank you for sharing your truth, your pain, your lessons, and your hope. Here on the Unchained Truth, we don't just tell stories, we build bridges. Your words today have the power to reach beyond these walls, to spark understanding and to remind the world that change is possible. To those listeners on the outside, never forget, behind every prison idea is a human being. To those still inside,
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Your voice is still powerful.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Your future is still yours, and your story is not over. We see you, we hear you, and we're fighting with you. This is the Unchained Truth. So until next time, peace.